my name is Lucia and welcome to my channel Loops by Lucia, where I talk about knitting, crocheting, and any other artsy things that I happen to be doing at the moment. Today I thought it might be a fun little idea to talk through my yarn stash and give a little tour. As you can see, I have this empty bookcase behind me. I have actually just moved into this lovely new townhouse with my boyfriend, and I have all of this yarn that has been stored in boxes and bags, and I figured this would be a perfect opportunity to organize my yarn and then also give a little bit of a tour explaining the yarn that I have, the projects I hope to be using this yarn for in the future, any leftover scrap yarn that I have from projects I have previously finished, and just give a little rundown of what I have in my stash. I'm over here looking at the floor because there is a pretty overwhelming, monstrous pile of yarn of various colors and types and weights and brands and dyers, and it's a lot. And I think that it will be wonderful for me to just organize it and feel like it is all in place and not as overwhelming of a pile anymore. So my plan for organizing is to use this bookcase. I don't think you can really see it in frame, but I have a 5-layer shelf bookcase here. I'm going to be organizing from weight down and then by color. So I like to do the lowest weights, 0 and 1 at the top, and as I get lower, to increase the weight of the yarn all the way down to 6 and 7. And then on top of doing the weight, I like to go by colors of the rainbow as well within the weight. So I go from white all the way through the rainbow down to gray and black at the end. And then I restart the rainbow as I get into a new weight. I have a lot of hanks, I have a lot of balls, I have a lot of cakes. There's a lot of things that have been wound and a lot of things that haven't been wound. So it's just gonna be this whole mess of yarn, and it won't look particularly organized as I am doing this, but I'm gonna give it my best try and we'll see what we can come up with. Hopefully it doesn't look as messy as all of my yarn has been looking over the last couple of days while I have been moving in and waiting to put this all together. And before we start today, I do want to give a little shout out to what I am wearing. This is the Hearts on Fire top by Drops Design. I made it using Rowan's Denim Revive yarn. This is 95% cotton, 5% other fibers that is actually made with recycled denim and recycled cotton. It's very cool. This is a 50-gram ball. I'm actually gonna go ahead and start my yarn tour with this. So this is a 50-gram ball that I used to make this top. 50 grams is 100 meters or 109 yards, and I used the colorway Lipstick. I really love this top. It's probably my favorite summer knit that I've done. It has a lovely little lace eyelet pattern all across the body, as well as 3 separate garter stitch columns and a little lace V, lovely little pattern down the front as well. It's got a little bit of rib at the bottom, and it's got I-cord straps. So on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and put this over my bookcase. I think what I'm gonna do, because I know for a fact that the most yarn that I have is DK, I'm probably gonna start here on this, probably gonna start on the 2nd level. That is obviously going to change as we go, but I think that is a good start. You'll find during this process that there are certainly yarn brands that I gravitate to, and Rowan is definitely one of them. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab another one of Rowan's yarns that I have. This one is the Rowan Felted Tweed Color. It is a 50% wool, 25% alpaca, 25% viscose yarn. It is a 50-gram ball, and every 50-gram ball comes with 175 meters or 191 yards. This is a DK weight, and this color is the color 027, which I believe is the color, sorry, just had to look that up for a second. This is the color 27, which is Succulent, is the name of the color. It's this really lovely heathered green to blue yarn. It has this really nice sort of gradient effect without being too harsh. It really has a lovely blend of the blue and the green, as you can see here. Just show you a little bit. Here's the blue and here's the slightly more green. So it sort of plays between the two colors, and if you were to make something with this, you would find probably some natural blocking between the colors. I have 9 skeins of this. I'm gonna go ahead and put this up as well. So as I am sure will happen as we go through this, I could only find 6 of the 9 skeins that I'm pretty certain that I have of the Rowan Felted Tweed color. They will probably appear out of thin air as I get through this massive pile. Next in my DK list of yarns is the Kelborn Mullen Scout. This is 100% wool, 100 grams, 274 yards per skein, 250 meters. This is a DK weight, beautiful yarn in the color Moss Heather. It has this really lovely heathered effect with little pieces of orange, red, blue within this gorgeous green. I'm actually going to only put away one of the 2 skeins that I have because I am currently working on the Wood Anemone sweater by Sari Nordland, which is my first Sari Nordland pattern. Starting to get ready for fall, getting excited. I always prefer knitting sweaters to knitting some sort of tank top creation. I love the drapey, cozy effect that knitting gives to sweaters. So I'm only gonna put one of these in storage for now, and the other one I'm gonna put to the side to continue working on the body of that sweater. Next, another DK weight yarn. I have the Lena's du Nord Soft Lino, which is a natural 80% linen, 20% Pima cotton yarn. This is in the color 23, which is a peachy color. And this is a 50-gram ball with 135 meters per ball. I have 4 balls of this. I'm currently using 1 ball on the Adriata top by Joji Locatelli, and I will definitely be needing some more of this later. I really love this yarn. It has this very sort of slippery feel to it. It is very soft, kind of like an extremely soft rug that you might have in your bedroom. I've been really enjoying working with this so far. It hasn't given me a ton of issues. I will let you know as I continue to work through that project if I run into any. Going away slightly from the world of DK weight yarn, let's get into fingering briefly and talk about Knitting for Olive's Pure Silk. I'm sure many of you have this in your stashes already, but I'll go ahead and explain the content. This is a 50-gram ball. This is the color Ice Blue that I have here. Like I said, it is pure silk. It is 100% Boret silk. And every 50-gram ball comes with 250 meters. This is in the color Ice Blue. I have 4 skeins of this. It is beautiful yarn. I bought it for a specific top that I wanted to make, which is the Linnea blouse by Refined Knitwear. And unfortunately, I have swatched this 4 separate times and cannot get anywhere close to what the necessary gauge is for that top. So I have a couple of other ideas. I've been looking at using this for the Barbaro top by Pernille Larsen. I've also been looking at using this for the camisole number 4 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Hopefully this will get used. I love this color. I'm not very good with fingering weight. I think maybe I just don't know how to gauge swatch properly or what kind of tension I truly need for this kind of for this weight of yarn. So I will let you know if I am able to find a project that will work for this yarn. Moving away from the fingering weight of the pure silk, I'm gonna get into a couple of colorways that I have of the Hobie Twister Solid. This is a 55% cotton, 45% acrylic sport weight yarn. In 100 grams comes 437 yards or 400 meters, so a whole lot of yarn. This colorway that I have is the color Iceberg 129, and I believe I have 3 skeins of this. No current project plans for this quite yet. In the exact same line of yarn, I also have 4 skeins of the color 149, which is Dusty Blue. This is a really nice denim color that I will hopefully be using soon. In the exact same yarn still, I have 2 other colorways. The next one is Dusty Rose. I have 1 skein of this. I have previously used this to make the terrestrial cover-up dress by Mermaid Cat Designs, which I absolutely love, and I'll put a picture of here. And then the last colorway I have of the Twister Solid is 121. I couldn't find the actual color name of this online, but this is a very creamy, sort of wheat-colored light white yellow blend. I am very excited to use this, and I have no plans for it yet. So that was 10 total skeins of just the Twister Solid by Hobie. I really love Hobie yarns, and I'm going to continue working with them right now and talk a little bit about the normal twister, which is a fingering weight, 250 gram ball with 1,000 meters in it. This is the same blend, 55% cotton and 45% acrylic. This is labeled as a sport weight, but Ravelry calls it a fingering. This is a beautiful colorway. I believe this is the color Ice Sculpture. I really, really love it. I have 2 skeins of this. And I've had this idea to make a gradient cardigan of some sort, starting with the light on the top and going down to the dark on the bottom. And I think this could be really, really perfect for that. Moving away from Hobie for a second, let's get into some worsted. And this is actually an Aran weight yarn that I have here. What I have here is the Noro Akari Solo. This is kind of a mess. As you'll see, like some of the yarns are like perfectly packaged still. They're still in their original balls without anything having happened to them. They are they've still got their tags, and some of them are not that way. And this one pretty much immediately fell apart as soon as I bought it. That's not the yarn's fault, I don't think. I think I'm just a mess. So this one is a worsted weight. It is 26% silk, 21% cotton, 15% viscose, 14% mohair, 12% wool, and 12% polyamide. This is a 200 gram ball with 480 meters inside of it. This is beautiful. I would call this a marled yarn. It has blue with the white sort of spun together. Really, really pretty. This is another one that I don't have any current plans for. I think this might be something I wait until the spring to use. I could see myself really enjoying this color in maybe a sort of heavier t-shirt or something for the spring. So I've got 2 skeins of this. Another rowing yarn, going back slightly to the Rowan. I've got the Soft Yak DK yarn. I believe I have 5 balls of this. This is a 50 gram ball with 135 meters or 148 yards. This is a really lovely, extremely soft DK weight. Sorry, I have to pull out the tag to find out exactly what it's made of. This is 76% cotton, 15% yak, and 9% nylon. Very soft, similar to the soft lino. I find this very slippery. This is a chainette, gorgeous yarn. I have no plans for this either. And this is, oh, forgot the colorway. This is the colorway, not listed. This is a gray. Next, I have a couple of more knitting for olive yarns. The first one I have is just a skein of the soft silk mohair. I have 1 skein of this navy blue. It is 25 grams of 225 meters for the full ball. It is 70% mohair, 30% silk. This is another go-to mohair for people that you will see on TikTok or knitting, crafting YouTube. I have actually used not this exact colorway, but I have used the soft silk mohair in the dark blue as opposed to the navy blue to hold together with another yarn that I have, which is the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the colorway Blue Whale. And I use that to make the zipper sweater by Petite Knit, which is probably at this point my favorite thing that I have ever knit. Getting into the heavy merino a little bit, this is a 50 gram ball of 125 meters, 100% merino. It is beautiful, it is thick, it has this lovely heathering with little sort of pieces of gray within it. And when I held this with the dark blue of the mohair, it created this beautiful, luxurious, silky smooth fiber. Even with the mohair, which many people find rather itchy, I really loved working with it, and I love the way that it turned out. Cannot wait to wear it. I have 2 skeins and some change of the heavy merino, and then I do have the 1 ball of the soft silk mohair. So this is the owl from Quince & Co, and because I lost the tags, I'm gonna just read what this says on Ravelry. It is a worsted weight, 120 yards, 110 meters per 50 gram ball. It's really lovely. It is 50% wool, 50% alpaca. I have made a pair of gloves. I can't remember what pattern I used, but I've crocheted a pair of honeycomb style fingerless gloves with this. Really, really liked using it. So I have 3 and some change skeins of this. Moving right along, I have a completely random single skein of Lion Brand Trubo. This is a DK weight, 100% rayon from bamboo yarn. And in the 100 gram ball, you get 241 yards or 220 meters. This is in the color Aqua. I quite like it. I don't remember if I had intentions with it when I grabbed it from Michael's, but I do actually like the shine. I know that many people don't kind of like that sort of unnatural manufactured shine look to their yarn, but this is extremely soft. I do think it could make like a really lovely home accessory of some sort. I've been looking at like maybe doing a table runner. This could be good for a table runner. I have heard the complaints about this yarn that it tends to split a lot, so I will be keeping track of that if I do end up using this anytime soon. Next, I've got another yarn that I'm currently using for a whip. This is the Juniper Moon Farm Zoe Spray Soft Cotton Linen Blend. It is 60% cotton, 40% linen. This is a sport weight yarn, and in 100 grams, you get 284 yards, 260 meters. Now, this is in the color Gold Coast. This is a very strange yarn, and I'm going to talk about this in a knitting podcast where I talk about the current project I'm working on, which is the staple linen top, also by Joji Locatelli, who is one of my current favorite designers. This is very odd, but I'll touch on this briefly. Within the yarn, you sort of have extremely thin, tightly spun strands of the yarn, and then in other parts, you get really thick, sort of fuzzy pieces. So it's been a little bit of a frustrating knit because I've sort of been running into these issues with the evenness of my stitches because some of the stitches are genuinely using a thinner strand of yarn as opposed to other stitches which are using a lot thicker strands of the yarn, and it has created some issues. I will definitely get into this, but I have 2 unused skeins. I'm going to put one of them away and grab the other one to finish my staple linen top, which shouldn't need too much more. I'm actually working on the bottom band now, so I will almost be done with that, but I'll put the rest of this away. Another yarn that I have seemed to have lost the tag for is the Illumani yarn Amelie. Really, really beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my iPad to just read directly off of Ravelry. This is a bulky weight yarn. In each skein you get 50 grams. This is wound up. And you get 150 meters, 164 yards. This is 56% silk, 40% alpaca, and 4% wool. I love this blown texture. It has this really nice sort of fuzz that is emanating off of it. It is extremely soft. I think this would be a perfect pair of gloves or a hat for the winter. I don't have anything planned, but it is just the most luxurious, rich feeling yarn that I think I have in my entire stash. A yarn that I haven't seen any of the knitting YouTubers that I watch use is the Louisa Harding Brittany. This is a really sort of neat yarn. This is like marled with like 4 different colors. It is silk, cotton, and plant fiber blend. It's an Italian yarn. This is a 100 gram ball with 200 meters and 220 yards. It is 38% silk, 31% cotton, and 31% viscose. This is the color Shallow. And I think it's really sort of neat. It has a sort of ribbony effect between the blue and the purple, and you can sort of find little pieces of gold in there as well. And I do have plans to make the Marin top, which is actually by Louisa herself. So I will hopefully be casting that on relatively soon. Next, I have one of my absolute favorite yarns. We talked about Rome, we talked about Hobie. Let's talk about Malabrigo. This is one of my absolute favorite brands. And here I've got a skein of the Arroyo. I actually have 4 skeins here. The Arroyo is a DK/sport weight. I believe it is labeled as sport on Ravelry, but this is a 100 gram ball, or 100 gram hank, I guess. This is 335 yards or 306 meters. It is 100% superwash merino, and this is in the color Azulis. I absolutely love this color. The blues, the purples, just this beautiful dimensional look. I am extremely excited to use it. I currently don't have anything planned for this, but I am so hyped to use it. That is not the only colorway that I have of the Arroyo. I also have a caked up ball here of the same yarn in the colorway Seahorse, which I have used for the Spring Showers cardigan by, you guessed it, Joe Locatelli. That was actually my very first knit garment project. I love it. It is very special to me. I will talk about it in a future video. And I really love this particular colorway because it is so abstract looking. It has just little speckles of brown and blue and green, and everything sort of combined together. It makes for a really interesting knitting experience because you truly have no idea what the next stitch is gonna look like, and I just absolutely love this yarn. Another skein of the Malabrigo Arroyo that I have is 231 Sea Slug, which is a pink and white based, again with sort of these little speckles. I do want to do a swatch of this. I don't have any specific project plans for this, but I would love to swatch just to see exactly what kind of fabric I would get from this and what the color would sort of make itself turn into. Because this one, I would say, has even more of the tiny specks than the Seahorse does. Don't worry, y'all, I am almost done with the Arroyo. I have one more colorway. I have 4 skeins of the Arroyo in the color greenish blue. It's this beautiful dimensional turquoise. Doesn't have any of the speckling of the Seahorse or the one that I just looked at, whose name I can't remember because my brain is mush. This doesn't quite have the variegation to it, but this does have some beautiful dimensionalness to it, and I am looking forward to using this. Again, I have no projects currently planned for this. Some more Hobbii yarn that I have is actually 3 separate cones of the Cotton Kings. I had this crazy idea that I was just going to start knitting fingering weight projects like crazy, so I picked up 3 of these. I picked up one in the color 41, one in the color 14, and one in the color 18. None of these have specific color names. These are 500-gram cones that come with 1,700 meters or 1,859 yards a piece. They are 100% cotton, and as I said, they are fingering weight. I don't know if or when I will ever be using this, so I do think I'm gonna pick one of these cones to destash. I will be donating a ton of the yarn from this that I don't use as much anymore or don't have any specific plans to Goodwill at some point soon, along with some clothes that I have packed for the move and don't think I'm ever gonna wear. Purely based on what colors I currently have of fingering weight, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the 14. I think I'm gonna go ahead and destash this because this is a little similar to the Knitting for All of Pure Silk, and I think if I'm going to do a fingering weight knit, I think it will probably be using that as opposed to this. So this will get destashed, and these 2 I'm gonna go ahead and organize, and it looks like we are now at the point where I need to start moving things around a little bit, so this might take a second. Moving slightly backwards to another Rowan yarn that I have, I believe 8 skeins of the Rowan hand knit cotton. This is made with combed cotton. These are 50-gram balls, and in a 50-gram ball you get 85 meters or 93 yards, and this is in the color weight Violet. So this is a DK weight yarn. I do have a project plan for this. I have the Tide Sweater by Kim Hargraves planned to use this for. That might change. A lot of the DK weight patterns that I have could really go in any direction with the yarn that I have, as long as I do a swatch and it, you know, lines up with the gauge. I could really sort of go in any direction, so I could use this for that. This could also be a really nice home accessory because it is not like so soft that I would truly be like leaping over myself to get this on my body, but it is a pretty nice plain violet color that I think could be a really nice table runner or something like that. A brand I have not talked at all about today that I recently stocked up on quite a bit of yarn from and am very excited about is Essayer. So I've got 2 different colorways of the Eco Baby. This yarn is 50-gram balls and 105 meters per ball. It is 68% baby alpaca and 32% organic cotton, and this is in the colorway 0, which is cream. And I believe I have 8 skeins of this, and then I have 8 skeins of the 2S, which is light gray. I've recently picked both of these up in Virginia Beach. I'm extremely excited about using them. These were the softest things that I felt all day. These are chainette. As you can see, the cream color is a little bit more of a sort of simplistic, straightforward cream color yarn. But if you look at the gray, you get a little bit of nice heathering in there with just little bits and pieces of darker black and lighter white. And I think this will make a really, really nice sweater. I do have projects planned for both of these. So for the baby white, I have the Home Sweater V-neck by Kadri planned, which is a really nice sort of fuzzy V-neck sweater. And then for the light gray, I have the Monday sweater by Petite Knit planned. So both of these I'm very, very excited to get using. Another couple of yarns that I picked up in Virginia Beach include 2 colorways of the Santa's Garn Lena. The Santa's Garn Lena is a 50-gram ball. The 50-gram ball comes with 110 meters of yarn that is 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen. I have 2 skeins of the Stewed Greens color, and I have 8 skeins of the light beige. I know this is a little bit of an odd colorway, but I actually do have plans to turn this into the Daydream Zephyr sweater by Julia Piro. It's a sweater I've had my eye on for a little while. It has this really lovely sort of cabling as part of the raglan, and then it has just some light stripes near the bottom. So I'm gonna do the Stewed Greens for the striping, and I'm going to do the beige for everything else. Some more blue worsted yarn that I have here is the Taki Yarn Superwash Merino Worsted Twist yarn. Now this was one that I had not been familiar with before, but I went to a yarn store in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I picked up, I believe, 4 skeins of this. This is 100% superwash merino wool. It is in the color turquoise, and every 100-gram hank comes with 221 yards or 200 meters of yarn. This is actually a really nicely dimensional yarn. You can't really tell from too far away. It kind of looks like a very simplistic light blue, but this is actually a really nice little denim color that has very, very light purple and lighter faded white blue that is sort of nicely heathered into this. So no plans for this yet, but excited to use it. Going back to my fave, Malabrigo, I have one colorway of the Rios, which is their worsted yarn. This is in the colorway Casa Pueblo. It's actually kind of similar to the Taki that I just showed you. This is 100 grams of superwash merino wool. Worsted weight, 210 yards, 192 meters. It's really pretty, very, very soft. I did buy this, I believe, with the plan. I think I'm going to do the sweater number 9 by My Favorite Things, which is a nice turtleneck. It'll be something that I'm hoping to cast on in the next month or so, so this will hopefully be getting some use very soon. I just love the deepness of the color. I feel like it is very wintry, and I just love looking forward to those colder seasons of the year and getting some projects off of my needles, on and off of my needles, to get right into just wearing the coziest things possible and getting me excited about that time. So got this. Another yarn that I'm planning to use very soon for a fall cast on is this Barocco Tilly. This is, I believe, like a brand new line that they just made available about 6 months ago, and I got a very early skein from my local yarn store in Charlottesville. This is a DK weight yarn, 62% Pima cotton and 38% Supro, which I'm not sure what that is, but I'm excited to find out. 100 grams for each hank and 375 yards or 343 meters per hank. Now, usually I would say that's a little bit more of a sport weight, I would say, just to have that amount of yards in your 100 gram ball. But I have done a gauge swatch for the Dear Duomo sweater by Sunhee Hong using this yarn, and it ended up working just fine on 4.5mm needles. So I think that this will be lovely for that sweater. This is gorgeously sort of dimensional and has this lovely sort of denim effect. It really reminds me, like, if any of the yarns here remind me of blue jeans, it's gonna be this yarn, and I'm very excited to use it. I do have a really lovely single ball of this Queensland Collection Perth, which is an Australian superwash wool blend. It is a fingerwing weight yarn, 80% superwash wool, 20% nylon. 100 grams comes with 437 yards or 400 meters, and this is in the color Palm Cove. I believe I got this as a gift from my mom when she went somewhere, I think in New England. I absolutely love this yarn. I think it is fascinating. It has marling, but it has a gradient of the marling. It is beautiful. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. I believe I had started making socks at one point before I really knew how to make socks, and I just frogged it, decided not to continue working on that project, but I do love this. I forgot I had this in my stash, and I should find something for it soon. I think socks might be a really good idea. Next on my list, I have 4 skeins of the Barocco Modern Cotton DK. Now, I've got the color 6684. I'm not sure what color that technically would be, but it's sort of this dark Merlot color. This is 100 grams, 335 yards, 306 meters. This is a DK weight yarn. It is 60% Pima cotton and 40% rayon / viscose. I am not super intrigued by the way that this yarn feels. I went on a little bit of a cotton kick and then realized that maybe cotton isn't really for me. So I started something with this. I can't remember what it was, frogged it, and now I've got I've got 3 balls, three cakes, I should say, and 1 hank that I haven't finished winding up. So I'll find something for it at some point soon, I'm sure. Next, I have the Loops and Threads Luxe Merino Wool Blend, and this is in the color Bridal Rose. I have 3 of these skeins. These are 55% superwash merino, 45% acrylic, and in one of these balls, which is 150 grams, you get 410 yards. Now, I bought this, and I actually did end up crocheting the Quisqueya Tank by Elizabeth Desamore with this. I like it quite a bit. I think I am going to keep this around. I would say if you were going to pick up some of this, which you could probably get at your local big box store, I think this is a Michael's brand actually. I have had some real issues working with this yarn. If you take a look at this sort of skein that I have available, you can see that it starts to fall apart really, really quickly. So I would highly recommend that you would actually wind this up before using it into a cake, because I ended up with a lot of issues on the last project that I worked on with this. Also in the Loops and Threads family, I have 2 balls of the Snuggly Wuggly acrylic, which is a DK weight, 100% acrylic, in a 141 gram ball, very strange, 446 yards per ball. This is in the color Violet, and I actually did use this for a project. I used it for the Snapdragon dress by Daisy and Dime, which is a beautiful all over shell crochet stitched dress that I love to death. It is actually super soft. I had absolutely no issues with this yarn. I love everything about it. And if you're gonna go pick up some Loops and Threads, Snuggly Wuggly would be my best bet for you. Now you'll find for the next couple of yarns that I guess I just was really obsessed with pink for a while, because I have a whole boatload of pink yarn to show you. And the next one that I'm gonna show you is this, which is the Quince & Co. Phoebe. This is a 100% extra fine American Merino, a DK weight yarn. In 100 grams, you get 301 yards of DK weight. And this is in the color Andromeda. It is beautiful. I haven't made anything with it yet. I actually have a little bit of a horror story involving the Quince & Co. Phoebe, which has nothing to do with the yarn and everything to do with my inexperience. And I will get to that story at some point on this channel, I'm sure. But I do currently have 5 skeins of this that I'm going to put away and use for something at some point. Now I actually do have more Loops and Threads Snuggly Wuggly. This is the exact same type of yarn, but this is in the colorway Fairy Tale. And I think I'm going to destash this, even though I did say that I loved the Snuggly Wuggly using it for the Snapdragon dress, which is absolutely true. I just think that I don't know when I would pick this over the Phoebe or even over the Bridal Rose Luxe Merino. It's just a little bit too light for me. I don't really know why I picked it up in the first place, but it's just a little too pastel baby pink for me. So I think I'm gonna destash this, but I hope that it goes to someone who can really, really get some good use out of this. Continuing on, I have 5 skeins of the Jody Long Summer Delight. Now this is a really interesting yarn that I haven't found a good use for yet, but it is a 90% cotton, 10% cashmere yarn. It's the only cashmere yarn that I have in my stash at all. And in this 100 gram hank, you get 230 meters, 253 yards. I believe this is technically a DK weight, and this is in the Dye Lot Lagoon, or the color Lagoon. I don't know what to use this for, but I definitely want to hold on to it because I do kind of like the color. It's sort of this seafoam greeny, kind of gives me like aquarium vibes to it. I don't know, but I do think that I could use it at some point. I just don't know for what. So if you have any ideas what I could use this yarn for, specifically garments, that's usually the main thing that I make, just drop it down below. Also, I lied. Apparently I have 6 skeins of this. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with all this yarn. A little bit more of the Snuggly Wuggly. I've got another colorway here. This is the colorway Bright Teal. I'm currently using this for the Streamline tank by Alexi Tavel of Two of Wands. That project has been on my needles for quite some time, and I haven't touched it in a few months, so there's a high possibility I'll just either frog it or leave it hibernating for God knows how long, but I do want to keep this in case I decide to finish it. I do have one little skein of the Patons Astra. This is also a DK weight yarn in a 50 gram ball. Yep, 50 grams, 147 meters, 161 yards. This is just a very basic white yarn that I just wanted to have available to me if I just wanted a completely plain white yarn for borders or I don't know, for whatever reason. Also, in my pink family obsession that I was apparently on about a year ago, I do have 3 skeins of the Bernat Softy Baby in the color pink. This is a DK weight 140 gram ball, 362 yards per ball, 100% acrylic. And I think for the same reason that I'm not going to keep the loops and threads, I'm going to destash this as well. I also, in the exact same type of yarn, have 2 skeins of the Mint, and I think this is another one that I'm going to go ahead and destash for the exact same reasons. I already have the loops and threads Snuggly Wuggly, which I know I like, and I don't believe I have actually gotten into being able to use this, so I think this one's going to go away too. Now, many of the other yarns that I have, I'm either missing tags from, or they are just scraps from when I was crocheting years ago. I would crochet pretty much exclusively with worsted weight when I was solely crocheting a few years ago, but when I moved into knitting, I ended up finding that DK weight clearly was the go-to weight for me. So I think I'm going to probably destash most of that, but there are a couple of things that I do want to keep. I do have 5 skeins of Bernat Blanket Big. Bernat Blanket Big. Now this is a jumbo weight yarn, which I didn't know existed before I found this. It's 100% polyester in a 300 gram ball. You get 32 yards. Now I have actually arm knit a couple of blankets using this, and I actually like it quite a bit. And now that I'm more into knitting using actual needles, I think that I very well might actually try and knit a blanket using actual real needles, but using this, because the only real critique I have of the hand knit blankets, the arm knit blankets that I made before, is that there's a lot of holes in them where the stitches were a little bit large because they had to fit over my hand to get off. So I do think that I'm going to keep this. I have 1 skein that is blue, and I believe it's just navy, and then I do have 4 skeins that are in sort of a foresty green color, and I think I'm going to keep all 5 of those. Another skein that I'm going to go ahead and keep is this skein of Caron 1 pound, which is a 100% acrylic yarn. It is truly 1 pound. It is 453.6 grams, 812 yards of worsted weight yarn. And the reason I'm going to keep this is because I'm actually using it right now to make the men's shawl collar cardigan by Jennifer Renaud for my boyfriend. My boyfriend and I are both proud Slytherins, and he is a massive fan of Harry Potter and asked me to make him a Slytherin themed cardigan, which I am doing by using this very deep Kelly green that I think is exactly the color that he was looking for. And the last skein that I do plan on keeping from my sort of scrap area is another one that does actually have a tag on it, which is great. It is the Big Twist Value Pound Plus. It is 500 grams, 1,000 meters, 1,093 yards. It is worsted weight, and this is in the color cream. And the reason that I'm keeping this is because I have had the plan ever since Taylor Swift debuted Folklore to make her cardigan. I am a giant Swiftie. I have been since I was 12 years old, and I have not taken the plunge to make one of her cardigans. So I do want to keep this as incentive to say, hey, Lucia, if you're bored, if you're not working on something you're excited about, let's pull this out. Let's get a cardigan started. Let's get you looking like Miss T-Swizzle, okay? Y'all, I believe that we have actually reached the end of this video. I cannot believe that I'm done. We have this beautiful bookcase full of gorgeous, colorful yarn that is gonna be surely a centerpiece in the house. I'm so pleased with how it turned out. I cannot wait to use this yarn and then fill this bookcase with more and different yarn. I can't wait to explore different dyers and different colors and expand my color horizons. I am so pleased with how this turned out, and thank you all so much for joining me as I cleaned up my house. If you liked what you saw here today and you don't want to miss any future videos, please make sure that you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. I have been excited about making these videos and finally making a YouTube channel for my knitting for months and months, even before I knew that I wanted this house. But I wanted to wait until I was out of a basement with no natural lighting and getting to be in a beautiful open space with lots of light. So this has been a very long time coming, and I'm very excited about the plans that I have for the future of this channel. Also below in the description, I'll be posting my new Instagram, my TikTok, and my Ravelry page if you want to keep up to date on whatever projects I'm working on. I would love to see you there. Please let me know if you have any ideas, tips, or tricks for me as I continue making this channel. I just want it to be just a beautiful safe haven of art and crafting and feeling nice and cozy and comfortable with all of you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you soon. Bye.